Good morning. I'm honored to introduce this year's student speaker, Jordyn Robinson. First-generation college student, campus leader, passionate community advocate. Those are just some of the titles that describe Jordyn, someone who exemplifies what it means to be Warhawk bold. Throughout his time at UW-Whitewater, Jordyn has taken on numerous leadership roles that have allowed him to grow as a transformational thinker and creator. As president of the Black Student Union and student affairs director in Whitewater student government, he worked to create inclusive spaces where all students could feel a sense of belonging and thrive academically and socially. As the head basketball coach for the Milwaukee Pride Rock program and president of the UW-Whitewater men's and women's club basketball teams, Jordyn mentored young athletes, emphasizing the importance of character, integrity, and perseverance both on and off the court. In recommending Jordyn, Angela Meldonian, executive director of the University Center, said that Jordyn has demonstrated remarkable qualities such as visionary leadership, effective communication, decisive problem solving, and student advocacy. His ability to navigate complex issues, advocate for student interests, and foster a sense of community has left a lasting impact on our campus. Jordyn is the founder and owner of the company The Grind MKE, which provides athletic apparel, sports management, college recruitment, and athletic training services in track, football, and basketball. He graduates today with a Bachelor of Arts in Journalism with an emphasis in advertising and a minor in sports management. Please join me and welcome to the podium Jordyn Robinson.
Fellow graduates, esteemed faculty, family, friends, and supporters, I stand before you with immense pride and deep gratitude. Today, we are not merely celebrating our accomplishments, but the collective efforts of a village that has supported us and guided us throughout this transformational journey. Today, we embody Warhawk Bold. As I reflect on my journey and the path I've taken to reach this moment, I am reminded of the African proverb, "It takes a village to raise a child." None of us arrived at this moment alone. We certainly won't move forward alone. For every challenge we overcome, for every moment of self-doubt, there was a village behind us, encouraging us to persevere, to stay strong, and to strive for excellence. Your village might have been made up of family, mentors, friends, or a kind professor who noticed you were struggling and reached out to help. It is this collective strength that has brought us to this remarkable day. For me, the idea of a village is deeply personal. Growing up as a first-generation college student from Milwaukee, raised by a single mother, I knew at an early age that education was my opportunity to transform not only my life, but my family life. My mother, the cornerstone of my village, worked tirelessly to give me and my siblings a future filled with possibilities. She was not able to attend college herself, but she instilled in me the belief that education would unlock doors for a better life. And so I set out on my path, not just for myself, but for my family and for everyone who believed in me. Coming to the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater in fall of 2020 during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic was one of the most challenging experiences of my life. Like many of you, I felt lost trying to find my footing in a world that has suddenly changed. It was a difficult time to start a new chapter, and I faced academic and personal struggles that at times seemed too heavy to carry. But through it all, it was my village, my family, my mentors, my peers who helped me find my way. At the time, I was still searching for my sense of belonging. I had yet to discover what it truly meant to be Warhawk Bold. Early in my academic career, I struggled, not because I lacked the ability, but because I had not yet found my purpose. I wrestled with finding the right major, the right path, and ultimately understanding who I wanted to be as a man. But as I navigated those trials, my village never left my side. They reminded me that I belonged here even when I didn't fully believe it myself. This journey echoes the sentiments of the renowned educational philosopher John Dewey, who once said, "Education is not preparation for life, education is life itself." Dewey recognized that education is not merely the accumulation of knowledge, but engaging with the world around us in meaningful ways. Through our education at UW-Whitewater, we learn not just to absorb information, but to challenge the status quo, to think critically, and to engage thoughtfully with our communities. Beyond the classroom, my involvement in student organizations and student life, such as the Black Student Union and the Warhol Connection Center, were pivotal in helping me find my purpose and a sense of belonging. We hosted events and created programs that allow students to discuss difficult topics: race, religion, disability, and identity, in ways that foster understanding and community. We didn't shy away from the hard conversations because we knew that by addressing these issues, we could transform the way people think and how they see the world. This concept of transformation is not new in the world of education. It is deeply rooted in teachings of Pablo Freire, a Brazilian educator and philosopher who believed education to be an act of liberation. Freire emphasizes the need of education to empower individuals to question and challenge the systems that oppress them. This, to me, is the essence of being Warhawk bold. It is about more than just being confident or courageous. It's about daring to be a transformational thinker and creator. It's about stepping into spaces where you can make a difference, knowing that the challenges you will face will help you grow and create something meaningful for others. That boldness is what carried me through my time here, and I know it's what has carried each and every one of you to this moment as well. Throughout my journey, coaching basketball also became a central part of my growth. Coaching allowed me to combine mentorship, teaching, and leadership with a sport that I deeply love. But more than that, it allowed me to help shape young athletes into transformational thinkers and creators, both on and off the court. It wasn't just about winning games. It was about creating a culture of excellence and character. I wanted my athletes to understand that thriving in life comes from a commitment to core values, integrity, and hard work. Coaching gave me a chance to mentor in ways that transcended the basketball court, helping young people see their potential to become leaders in every aspect of their life. And isn't that what our villages have done for us? It has shown us the way, given us tools, and believed in us when we weren't sure we could succeed. From professors who pushed us to think critically, advisors who helped us stay on track, to peers who became lifelong friends. This is the power of a collective village. We now have the power and the responsibility to go out into the world and build villages of our own. Whether we become teachers, doctors, entrepreneurs, or artists, we are all now able to give back, to serve our communities, mentor the youth, and inspire the next generation. As Nelson Mandela once said, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. We have been given the weapon through education and experiences we've gained here, and now is the time to use it. For me, my short-term goals are to work with high school and middle-aged adults to provide resources, opportunities, and knowledge they need to be successful in their future endeavors. I want to be the person who creates a sense of belonging for my students. I want to mentor them to help them see that they are capable of greatness, just as my mentors have done for me. I want to build a culture of excellence where students thrive, not just in their academics or athletics, but in every aspect of their lives. In the long term, I hope to become an athletic director or an assistant principal, roles that will allow me to institutionalize programs that have a lasting impact. I want to create opportunities that help students grow holistically, not just while I'm there, but for years to come. One day, I hope to coach at the collegiate level where I can continue to provide opportunities for student athletes to transform their lives through sports and education. Dr. Martin Luther King posed a poignant question. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? As we leave the comfort of our university, I urge you to carry this question with you. Consider how you serve your communities, how you can uplift those around you, and how you can advocate for those whose voices may go unheard. Bring your creativity, innovation, and bold ideas into this space that need change. And don't be afraid to challenge the systems that no longer serve us. But above all, be kind. In a world that sometimes feels divided and disconnected, kindness is a revolutionary act. It's through kindness that we build villages that support us, that we foster understanding across differences, and that we make our communities a better place to live, work, and grow. Small acts of kindness can ripple out to create large waves of change. And we have the power to be at the center of that transformation. So as you leave here today, remember, you are Warhawk Bow. You are equipped with the tools to be intentional, transformational, and kind. Go forward and make your mark on your communities, on the world, and the lives of those you touch. We belong here. It's time to show the world exactly why. Congratulations, class of 2024. Thank you.